It's a beautiful day to be alive. Thank you for joining us on the newspaper review. My name is Esther Kalu, and on the review today, I would not be doing it by myself. I have with me Onyipriye Kromale.
Good morning, Esther.
Good morning, Kromale.
Yes, good morning and welcome to the newspaper review. Right here on High Impact Television. As usual, bring you stories making the headlines on various pages of newspapers, and we sort of pick the most important one that's generating some form of tantrums or that attract lots of attention from the people out there from Nigeria, Kenya, and outside Nigeria, which is in Europe. Currently, the United Kingdom, the United States of America, NATO allies, the allies of the West are completely on Russia because Putin has been alleged, or there's been verification that he has made an announcement of military operations in Ukraine. So finally, before now, the United States will keep on saying Russia will invade. Russia will invade in weeks' time.
Then the headlines changed.
In hours.
Yes.
And today, it's boom. Right on our faces.
But let's not give our viewers the impression that we just start with international stories. Okay. Yes. So on the newspaper review, we look at local stories here in Nigeria, look at stories in Africa, and then on the international scene. That's why it has the liberty to talk about that. So for the Ukraine crisis, I must say, first things first, are you surprised? Because 100,000 troops since...
I think it has climbed more than one.
That's what I'm saying. When you see 100,000 soldiers on a spot, they didn't come there for a picnic. So so they had
go for
yes. So it's not like they were there when they were there from the onset. The impression that there was going to be an invasion was there.
But I was thinking Mr. Putin would backtracked, because the reason why I was thinking that, because of Mr. Volodymyr Zelensky, who's the president of Ukraine, came out to make some statements about how it has been very difficult for Ukraine to be part of NATO, even though that's what they wish for and they wanted to do that, but that even some of the members in NATO are quite against Ukraine being part of NATO, and that it's an opposition that Russia has not hidden from expressing their opinion and their perspective that they do not want that, because they felt threatened by having NATO very close to them if Ukraine actually makes it into being a member of NATO.
The touching part for me in this whole story was the announcement from Ukraine to Russians, from Ukraine to their citizens rather in Russia, that they should leave immediately. And they've had, according to Putin, they have over 3 million Ukrainians in Russia. So it feels to me like, the way we have people in Nigeria from Togo, Benin Republic, Ghana, and they're living here, and we've intermingled in such a way that
it's very, very hard to
differentiate. So I'm already speaking the language, the local dialects, and we've moved on. We're fine.
You were in the news yesterday. You talked about 3 million Ukrainians who are currently working and doing their business. This is not the right time for Ukrainians in Russia to leave and start heading back home, because if you hear that troops already in Russia are coming into Ukraine, they're not coming there for a visit.
Yes, they're not coming to have fun. Well, but that's not all. On the home front, we have our own drama going on here.
Yes.
I have to tell you that our drama is serious. Constitution amendments. I know before we get into COVID-19, I want to read this headline. Constitution amendment, outrage as National Assembly considers life pension for presiding officers.
Life pension?
Life pension. What does that even mean?
Well, it means you are being paid pension
forever,
for life.
Until you die.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
You want to be a lawmaker now?
I mean, this is why it's difficult for some people to let go of their positions.
Not just that. We'll talk government.
Yes.
Governance. We have had interactions with experts, times with that number, who keep talking about the government having the responsibility to reduce the cost of governance in the country, because one of the reasons why the government does not was mooting the idea of removing fuel subsidies subsidy in the month of February. Why? Was because it's taking a toll in the nation's coffers.
Yes, please.
And well, when you do that, the people will suffer.
But you know, when you even mention cost of governance,
yes,
what comes to people's mind would be the cost of running the system that is ongoing. But when you are done with the system actively, you are still part of. So the cost of running governance has crossed from actively running the system to when the individuals who were there are now out of the system and they are being paid for being part of the system in the past. So the cost of governance now has cut across running operations to even outside
post-government operations.
Post-government operations. But that's
Academic Staff Union of Universities insists Ngige pleads with the union. Fuel scarcity persists as the NNPC released 387.6 million liters. You have the riders beneath that story, says members of the House of Representatives deepen probe. Ohando Duke Oil insists government approved dirty fuel. What an allegation. And now to stories making the headlines beneath the central caption of the front page of the Punch newspaper. You have it right there, a picture of the burnt inverter and equipment. Yesterday we brought you stories about the finance ministry being in flames, part of the building being in flames. Then you have the picture right there and some of the technicians attending to it. You have fire destroys finance ministry inverter room. And moving forward, Buhari signs electoral bill on Friday. Friday means tomorrow. Civil society organizations suspend protests. I believe they are eagerly awaiting his signature.
Thanks for the emphasis on Friday means tomorrow. You know, when I saw Friday initially, I felt like that was a long time. But then Friday is just 24 hours.
24 hours. But I would have been. Maybe it should have been Friday, the 25th of February.
So that it will not be
because the Friday
a second Friday.
Ambiguous.
Yeah, all right.
Hoodlums guarded by cops. Soldiers demolish structures in Lagos slums. Still in the front page of the Punch newspaper. Benin, Egba have historical similarities. That's coming from Iware II. You have federal government school feeding program costs 100 naira per child, and the scheme is to gulp 1 billion naira daily. I searched.
Oh my goodness.
For that story.
Yeah, it's such
for the details for that story. Let's move forward.
Please, let's
Ogun State pastor rapes member during deliverance from spirit husband. Not good.
Whoa.
Okay.
That's not
Court
good.
orders interim forfeiture of Yari's U.S. properties and others. I believe people won't be thinking about Habak Yari.
No.
It's not. He's a former governor of Zamfara State.
Yes, please.
And those are the stories making the headlines on the front page of the Punch newspaper, Esther.
All right, let's get into the first one. This morning, Constitution amendments outrage as National Assembly considers life pension for presiding officers. And the writer here says committee recommends pension for Senate President, Speaker, and deputies. A fresh move by the National Assembly to grant life pension for its presiding officers, including the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, as well as their deputies, has sparked outrage among civil society groups and some senior advocates. If the proposal is passed by the legislature, the current Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, and their deputies will benefit from this. This is according to the National Assembly's Joint Special Ad Hoc Committee on the Review of the 1999 Constitution, which laid its report containing 68 recommendations in the respective chambers on Wednesday. I like this to even be an exclusive conversation with a guest. Let's bear this out and understand what this means. So the average Nigerian, what kind of pensions do they receive when they are done working, when they retire, right? The civil servants, what kind of pensions do they receive? And then from the government, what kind of pensions do they receive? These are some of the things we need to know.
Yeah.
But it's such that the time here might not even be able to contain just this as a conversation, because every headline on the news today is hot. ASU is still there, and I don't know how much time ASU is going to take before we get into that.
The thing I want to point out is you talked about the civil servants, and according to law, they are expected to spend 35 years in service.
Yes.
And whether they are the state or the federal level or the local government level of work, they spend 35 years. And if when they spend 35 years, they are supposed to be paid, pensions. Okay. Sometimes we hear and we see on television when pensioners go protesting, they have not been paid, and you see some of them suffocating and collapsing right there. Hold people.
Yes.
Now, 35 years. Sometimes you have these lawmakers who spend just 4 years in office.
Exactly my point.
Sometimes you have the lawmakers just spend 8 years. Of course, we've seen some spend 20 years and still counting in the National Assembly, either in the House of Representatives or in the Senate. But we know currently now they are talking about the Speaker and his deputy, the President of the Senate and his deputy, but little by little, it's going to crawl to members of the National Assembly.
That's what I'm saying.
Every member. Now, currently, we talked about some of the governors who are currently on life pension with their deputies. We talked about the president and the vice president, which is section 84, subsection 1 of the Constitution, as we can see in the report, that they are on life pension. There's a report that alone is taking 7 billion naira. Annually,
every year. Yeah.
So if we consider all this, and we still have civil servants, where they've been owed salaries. Government workers too, they've been owed salaries. We've not heard the allegation that you hear from outside most times, that government officers, most especially politicians who are occupying elective offices, they have never been owed salaries. So I think that's why one of the reasons why there's this distrust when it comes to politicians and the people they govern, because the people want to feel, sometimes make laws where the laws communicate altruism, altruistic tendencies, that it's not made for me to benefit.
Please remember that we are borrowing.
Of course.
Please put that into consideration. That's why I said that this is such that we need to. This is on the page. What is this now? Page 2. And I would advise Nigerians to pick it up and read for yourself. This is not a time to be just critical of the government in your homes. It's a time to find out how the system actually works.
Participatory governance. When the people participate in the governance of the country, and they have direct interaction with their representatives at the constituency level.
I
believe
not just on Twitter now. Not just on Twitter, because there are lots of Twitter
Twitter
activists.
Not a constituency.
That's what people don't know.
Twitter is a constituency on the internet. We're talking about the fiscal constituency, where they have town hall meetings and they call. We need the lawmaker representing this constituency in the House of Representatives. We need the lawmaker representing this constituency in the State House of Assembly. We also need the senator representing this constituency at the Senate. So let's all have a town hall meeting. These are the people you represent in Parliament. Please come, let's talk.
I feel like we should also know what each person should do. Do you understand? You should understand
within your constituency.
So you see someone provide a bus for maybe the neighborhood to take children to school, and then your grandma says, "Oh, he's doing well because he provided a bus." Like, is that what we sent him to do there? So it's important to find out what exactly is your job description. You and I got our job description
their job description is to make laws for the good of Nigeria.
I understand. So let's know, so that when you're buying us maybe a souvenir, you're buying us, Ankara, maybe you're buying us fabrics, that we should all look good. We should understand. And maybe you even pay tailors to make us look good. Let's understand that that's not what we sent you to do there. So it's good for Nigerians to really find. I was in that workshop, and even though we've had that report, it got to me that a lot of people don't actually have access
participation
to these lawmakers. You can't ask them questions.
You can.
I'm saying that. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm saying when you go to their offices and you're probably not a journalist, you're not a politician, you don't have the power to knock on their doors. Question is, who are you?
Oh.
Thank you for joining us on the newspaper review this morning. Do well to stay tuned for 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. as the updates unfold and we bring them back to your screen. My name is Esther Kalu. Till I see you again, do stay safe.
And I'm Oyin Priye Krumale. Thanks for watching.
As a child,